What it is.
It's your girl Caramel.
That one.
And we got Chef ButtaScotch in the building. ButtaScotch.
Smooth like butter.
And we are missing our dear friend Chocolate. So we want to say, hey girl, hey.
Man, come on. Where you at?
So, Dolemite.
Way down in the jungle deep.
Oh my God. Let me get my notes.
Signified month.
I cannot.
Come on now. No, that's woo, I grew up on all of that.
So let me ask you, did you know who Dolemite was prior to this?
I did, because Robin Harris, if you ever watch Bebe's Kids, he literally does that in the beginning of the movie on Bebe's Kids.
Okay, I watched it, but I ain't know nothing.
Right.
I wasn't allowed to watch that type of stuff growing up.
I watched every blaxploitation film possible growing up.
See,
Coffee,
I'm not allowed to watch none of that
Cleopatra
stuff.
Jones, Blackula, freaking I said Coffee. I said Jackie Brown, Foxy Brown. Who else was it? It was so many blaxploitation films.
Yeah,
my mom. We had them all on VHS growing up.
My mom was like,
all of them.
No,
all of them.
Are you 13? Okay. You're not watching PG-13. Like,
that
was my
first
mom.
time I watched Foxy Brown and saw Pam Grier with no top on, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, see, my mom
Hello,
was
Pam.
not having it.
How are you?
Okay, so I Am Dolemite. It had Eddie Murphy in it.
Eddie.
Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
I saw T.I. in the movie. I saw Snoop Dogg. I saw Chris Rock. I saw Mike Epps. Divine Joy Randolph.
Keegan-Michael Keys.
Yep. And what's his name? Craig Anderson?
Craig Robinson. He was in Hot Tub Time Machine.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so basically, this is Eddie Murphy's return to film.
And I'm not mad at it.
I'm not mad at all.
This is the way that everybody should come back after a 5-year hiatus.
He's so funny, just naturally funny.
He is, man.
Okay, so I watched this movie not knowing who Dolemite was at all. It's just so many people were talking about this movie, so I'm like, let me watch it. Watched it. Then I went back and watched the movie from the 70s, the real one. Then I went back and watched crazy. I Am Dolemite again because I got way too much time on my hands. And I'm a nerd, okay?
Right.
So, let me tell y'all, I freaking love this movie.
Yes.
Loved it, okay?
Yes.
I will tell you guys that it is rated R, might even be rated X.
Or hard R.
A hard R. So, it's not for kids at all.
No.
Please don't take your children to see this. I don't care what he says.
Where are you taking them? To your living room?
To your living room. Don't let them click on it because it's not for kids. There is nudity. There is horrible language. It is so bad.
I get it.
Fighting.
Really?
I know.
That fake knockoff.
Violence.
That fake Power Ranger fighting. You gotta stop it. Oh, get him.
Fake sex scenes.
Yeah.
And
that was hilarious, though.
Nudity once again.
Yes, there was.
Twice, okay?
Yes, there was.
So that movie was just not for kids at all.
It's so educational.
So.
Watch it in every school.
My God.
Pretty sure.
So the movie's about the life of Rudy Ray Moore. And so it starts off with Rudy being at the comedy
manager.
club.
No, so he's a store manager. That's the first time you see him.
Oh, well, go ahead.
First time you see him.
I wasn't going to go from scene to scene, but...
Oh, it's not even scene to scene. I mean, you see him first just kind of trying to get his music played. He's trying to talk to Snoop, who is a DJ in the record store. He's like, hey, play my record, man. It's a good record.
Snoop's not having it.
He's like, what? Ain't nobody playing that stuff. That's from the 40s, man. We ain't listening to that nowadays. Get that out of here. He's like, come on, man. It's a good song. It's good stuff. And he doesn't. He walks up to the register, and he encountered. Well, no, he doesn't encounter anybody the first time, right? No, he does. He does see the snap or the fiend, or crackhead, or whatever you want to call this individual.
Oh my Lord.
He was.
Okay.
That's what he was.
I'm not arguing.
He was freebasing. This might have been free regular crack. He was smoking cocaine. Who knows? But he comes in and he asks for some money. He gives it to him, and he starts telling a story. And he said, "This is a story of Dolemite." And he got inspired by that in that instance, only briefly. He doesn't capitalize on that right away. But that's what opens it up. And then he goes to the comedy club where he is
doing a horrible stand-up bit.
Terrible.
He's trash, and nobody cares. His name's not on the front of the marquee.
Nothing.
He's just not profiting off of what he's doing at all.
At all.
So, and I'm gonna skip around. With time, he decides, hey, what these homeless men are doing is quite funny.
Right.
And if I put a little professionalism and add my own little touches here,
pimp litter.
Yeah, I could literally use this and brand myself.
Yeah. This
is branding at its finest.
Right. He took something that no one had organized and he made it a thing.
Man,
and
outfit, hair, talk. He made it a thing.
Right. And he transformed. And it's a far cry from who he really was. And that's one thing that people were saying. He was not Dolemite like that. He didn't like cussing like that. He thought it was distasteful till he started doing it.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
He wasn't into it like that.
But he knew what sold.
Right.
He knew that foul language was entertaining. He knew that sex sells.
And this was the height of Red Fox and stuff like that. And it's actually funny. And I'm gonna do this because honestly I didn't know we were doing this today. It's hilarious. But like growing up, literally, because I have a record player.
I hate you.
I have a record player. This isn't Dolemite though. This isn't him. But this is Richard Pryor, Bicentennial Nigga. This was one of the first records I ever listened to as a kid.
As a kid.
This
my
is
mama
vinyl.
was not with none of that.
Bicentennial Nigga by Richard Pryor. Real shit. This is my record, personal record. I love this thing.
That's what's up.
But no. So he took what Rich was doing, what Red Fox was doing, and he made it bigger and more outlandish and embodied this character.
Put a devil on the front. Like, they'll look at this. If I put a devil, if we have some nudity on the front scene,
they gonna buy it.
Make it look like an orgy. Well, anything that will make people look and buy.
Right.
And it worked.
It did all the way.
So he came back to the club after he rebranded himself, and
he killed it.
His boss was like, "Bruh,
stick to
what is this outfit? Just do what you normally do.
You look like a pimp.
I don't got time for this. Like,
what you doing?
I got enough problems. Like,
right.
Go up there and do what you normally do."
And
he did exactly what he had rehearsed and what he had practiced. He had bet on himself and was like, you know what?
It's a signified monkey. That's the name of the piece. The signified monkey. Way down in the jungle deep.
Prior to branding himself, though, he had really hit rock bottom.
Oh yeah, he was ready to ready to take the bridge.
There was some parts, some stuff that he said, and being an entrepreneur myself and being an entertainer myself, when I'm down in the dumps, it's some stuff that he said that really hit a nerve.
Right.
He was like,
working here my whole life.
He said my side job is not my main job. Oh God.
I know you went
For
back.
those who don't know, I quit my full-time job.
She was free. And
for a year, I was living that entrepreneurial life. I wanted to, for those who don't know, I'm a professional singer. I bet on myself. I went on tour, left the country, and before quitting my job, I didn't even have nothing.
Nope.
I was singing at some nursing homes. I was singing weddings, funerals, community events. I had left the country a couple times prior, but I just decided to bet on myself and get rid of my job. And so I did it. I did it for a year. And so I literally just went back to work in September. But prior to going, I fell into this deep, dark depression. And so some of the things that he's saying that I'm about to tell you about hit a nerve with me. And I went into this movie thinking nothing. I'm not...
This is going to be some mindless
humor. That's it. But to come out and really be inspired...
But you know what? He bet on himself. And it paid off, though. I mean, he didn't know Dolemite was going to be successful.
No.
But he knew that whatever he was doing, he was going to put his all into it, one way or another. He always believed in himself. And I watched an interview that they did for the movie, the cast and crew. And Eddie Murphy himself said, Rudy Ray Moore was an average person. He wasn't good.
With everything.
He was average.
His looks.
Right.
his weight.
He wasn't shit.
Talent.
But he believed in himself.
So much that you had no choice but to believe in him too.
Because he didn't care. He was like, look, I might be mediocre, but I'm going to be the best mediocre I can be.
Yeah. So before we get to that place, he had reached a down space of his life. And he was like, man, why my life got to be so small?
Right.
Oh, when he said it, and when I first watched, he said, I said, oh.
Right.
Oh, I feel that way.
Right.
He said, I don't have nothing nobody want.
Right.
And that's something I be tussling with. I don't got nothing nobody want.
But you know what? I think for me, I've struggled with that because I got some shit. I just, it's time and focus again. I mean, as I got older.
This brought it back. This movie brought it back.
Right.
And there's certain things that'll get you back in line and get you back in focus.
Right.
And with him and me having to go back to work and him being like, man, my side job is turned into my...
Right.
I'm like, oh, do you know me?
Right.
Like, do you know what I'm going through? Do you know what I had to do to go back there?
Right. Like, I had to swallow some humble pie, some pride.
Oh, my gosh. And there was something else he said that hit a nerve with me. He was like... He's like, no, I don't think about home much. When I think about home, I just think about F home.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't think about F home. But I can understand the sentiment. Like, I can understand him being like, it ain't nothing there for me.
Right.
You know, in a sense. So, listen, me and Rudy Ray Moore was like right here in that moment. See, that movie had me hooked during that stage.
See, I'm the other side of Rudy. I mean, I have more talent than Rudy. But still, I mean, that whole betting on yourself thing. I'm
there too. For me to have quit my full-time job and have no real main literal source. You know what I'm saying? I'm there too,
but me doing what I'm doing now, this is the first time in my life I'm doing it for money. When I worked human service, where we work together, I was there to help do that and focus on my art. Now, for the first time, I'm like, you know what, I'm trying to get my money up, and then I'll go back to focusing on my art. Because I'm not that far removed from being able to do that. But it's just, you got to bet on your creativity because no one else is going to do it. I thought about doing a blaxploitation film. I think it would be hilarious. Oh, there is enough of us. We got
Rudy Roy.
Think about it though. There's enough of, and I mean, honestly, to shoot it kind of like that feeling in that nostalgic sense. I mean, shoot it where it's supposed to obviously be a caricature.
And that's the thing about this movie.
Right.
That Dolemite had decided. We skipping. Let's not mention this movie yet. So he does his bit. He bets on himself. He does not listen to the haters, the naysayers. And he does his bit and everybody loves it. So he's like, all right, cool. So he starts recruiting different people. Mm-hmm. One of the people he recruited was Divine Joy Randolph, and she played Queen Bee.
Yeah.
She was so good.
She was.
She was so good. She was so pretty.
You know, that was her first role.
She was good.
That was her first major role. And she killed it. She came off with this energy that was like, yo, you're gonna be something.
Can you imagine your first major role being with Eddie
Murphy? And it's his comeback movie? It's like, wait, what? History? I made that?
I'm so happy for her being a big plus size chocolate woman. That you don't get them roles.
Know what? I mean, here's the problem though. Those roles used to go to them though. Like big women in the 70s was everywhere.
Yeah, they were, but everywhere here now.
It's because it's that vanity. It's vanity. Mm-hmm. Because that doesn't mean that actress can act better. She's just nice to look at, but she's terrible.
It don't matter. They want entertainment, and there's entertainment in just looking good.
See, I can't. I don't care what you look like. Talent is talent, and talentless is talentless. I mean, we've had this conversation about music. You know what I mean? I don't think most of the rappers out here should be famous. It's just you people are stupid, and at this point, you like nonsense. But don't be mad when that nonsense is utilized to break you down. What he did was he took the blaxploitation film and he made it fun. You know, his journey into this with Dolemite was he wanted to be funny. He said that was his goal. He was like, you know what? If I take this character, what else can I do with it? Because he had that moment where he was making the albums and he was making them fast. It said he made what? How how many albums in 3 months? He was like cranking them out. He was cranking them out. But he went from that, and they had a conversation, and he was like, I can go to club to club. I can keep doing this. But how can I reach all these people at one time? They went to go see, what movie was it? It was a Jack Lemmon.
Oh, God.
Whatever
Jack
movie
Lemmon
him and his
Walter boys Matthau. Went to go see.
Jack Lemmon, Walter Matthau. It was... Cannot remember the name of the movie. But they went to go see it. It was supposed to be the funniest comedy of the year. And they walked out like, what the hell did we just watch?
That wasn't even funny.
And
so he's like, you know what? Me and my friends could make a movie better than this.
Mm-hmm.
Like...
And he was like...
He had no resources, no plan, no nothing. But just...
He had saved up $100,000.
One idea.
And he was like, you know what? I want to do this.
And so he went and asked his aunt for money, asked whoever for money.
The label. He got his record label. And they gave him an additional $30,000 to his $100,000. So he...
And he just used his mouthpiece, y'all.
Yeah. And he leveraged his royalties to his albums, too. So it was $30,000 plus his royalties.
He utilized the was it a crack house?
Yeah. It was not necessarily a crack house. It was an old theater or old hotel that was prominent in the early 20s for black musicians.
That the homeless people lived in.
And they were doing crack.
Okay.
Well,
crack theater.
Heron.
Theater.
Heron Theater? The Heron Theater. That one downtown. You know the one.
You know what had me cracking up, though? He was like... He said something about getting that back room together because I'm not paying rent after this.
He's like, all my money gone. You make that room red, I'm going to sleep in there. That's my room. Don't worry. After the scene, I'm living here right now. I'm living here.
I ain't paying rent.
I'm not paying rent no more.
He was willing to go for broke and give his everything.
Right.
Thing. Y'all hear me? Some really running themes in this movie because I'm not going to go through it verbatim.
Right.
But we already mentioned betting on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Use what you got.
Right.
So, and if you don't have it, ask.
Right.
So he utilized what he had. He utilized that random theater that wasn't being used.
Mm-hmm.
He utilized his friends, college students, anybody he saw. Oh, you cool? You good at writing scripts? Okay, can you write this movie?
Right.
Anything he utilizing what you have, but then also opening your mouth and asking because.
Right.
If a closed mouth don't get fed, period.
Right.
And if they don't know you need it,
how they gonna give it to you? So
they won't even think you need anything.
Right. You got to learn to open it up and surround yourself with creative people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if that's what your goal is, be around people that helps your light shine brighter.
People will assume that you're just cool.
Right.
You good. You don't need nothing.
You good, man. You reread them up.
Listen, not accepting no.
Yes. If he would have accepted no, he wouldn't have moved nowhere. And they said that
to him. And they reminded him of that.
Yeah, they said, dude, you've never let anyone tell you no. You've been doing stuff that ain't worked for years. Man. No one has told you no. You just keep going back to the well to rediscover, refine, reevaluate, restructure, and represent.
Redirect, yeah.
And I mean, it is. Never let anyone tell you no.
Mm-mm.
No is an illusion. No is just that door. Climb through the window.
Listen.
If the hamburger let Ronald McDonald tell him no, he would have never stole hamburgers.
When he said, mostly when I think about home, I just think F home. When he said that, it was funny, but
it was real for him.
It was real, but it brought me back. I don't think F home, but for me, home is the world of can't.
No.
I grew up, and that's not all of Akron, Ohio.
I didn't even say it. I didn't even say where you were. I just said Ohio.
Shush. Where I grew up and amongst the people that I grew up who I love dearly, there's a mindset of can't. Oh, well, that ain't gonna work. How's that gonna work? Well, that can't work. They think first that it can't before they ever think first that it can.
Right.
How can't this work? How... No, I doubt that that's going to happen.
Right.
Well, you shouldn't go and do this because this could happen.
Right.
Well, why'd you... Like, I would have never moved away from home.
Mm-hmm.
And I've moved away...
to another country.
Yeah. let alone I wouldn't even move here if I would have followed the can. So now when people bring me that can, I'm thinking of a million ways it can.
Right. See, that used to be my motivation as a kid too. Like me, I went to school for multimedia graphic design. That's my background in discipline. But I went into all of that because I wanted to go to Hollywood. I wanted to show people that I could create these things and do it. But, you know, I wanted to do it under my own terms. And I didn't want to be stuck under a structure that entertainment is recycled and regurgitated. There's nothing new anymore. And the one thing I'll say about, you know, Rudy Ray Moore, when he made Dolemite, there wasn't nothing like that. Not like that. There were blaxploitations, but he was doing some
other stuff.
Some whole other stuff. So, you know, you have to be encouraged and never let anyone tell you no, because that might not be their taste. Because even the critics were like, they panned it. And are we getting there yet, or should I wait for that part where he was talking about the reviews of the movie?
We're not there yet.
All right, I'll wait. Go ahead.
No, he's trying to take us somewhere else.
I'm just saying, I've been there.
But so many people tell him, nope, we not, nope.
Right.
But he just kept moving forward. But Will Smith had talked about this notion too, the law of attraction. And if you come up with a decision or a single thought, he said, the universe and the atmosphere is like water. If you continue to move in that direction, no matter what it looks like, no matter what it feels like, no matter what it seems like, the universe, as water, has to get out of your way. So he moved broke, but it had to get out of his way. Right. And the money just kept coming to him.
Right.
He moved without a location to do this film, but as he kept moving forward, the doors kept opening because he had his mindset on these goals. And so I've found that to be quite true, and I learned that also. It's the law, like I said, law of attraction. I learned that also in The Alchemist, reading The Alchemist, and also reading the book The Secret. If you keep your mind on a positive goal or even a negative goal, it will come to pass. It just will. It will manifest. Our thoughts have the power to manifest. Right. But if you especially have a goal in mind and you keep continuing to stay the course, it has no choice but to manifest, unless God's will says that it's just absolutely supposed to go another route.
Right, pumped and brakes. But God was a fan of Dolemite, so he was like, yeah, I'm going to need you to go ahead and make that movie. You're watching that tonight.
He said that.
Just saying. Act like God ain't watching Dolemite. God will do right now.
And he did it. He got mocked.
He did. They made, you ain't going to do this. This nigga trying to make a movie. He don't know what he doing. And he did it, though. Even though he didn't know what he was doing initially, he learned. That was the one thing about him. He would learn. If he didn't know, he would learn it.
I don't know how to do karate, but I'm going to fake chop the heck out of it.
Also, remember what he said? He said to Wesley Snipes' character, he's like, listen, man, no one's above anybody here. He said, yeah, I'm in here and I put the money up for this, but I'll move. I'm making sandwiches. I'm moving bags. I'm doing whatever needs to happen because I believe in this and I believe in us.
Wesley Snipes was hilarious. He was so good, though, hating.
See,
acting like he was too good for this situation.
Right. These niggas. He was like, that was a bit much, but that shit was fucking funny. So, I mean...
And then I'm thinking Rudy Ray Moore had this plan for this brand and for this movie and everything else that he accomplished, but he did this at a time where there were no cell phones. He did this at a time where there was no internet.
Oh, it's phone books, hand to hands. You had to know somebody that knew somebody.
And you had to sell yourself. He was a marketing genius.
Yeah, he was.
And didn't even know he was. He just kept telling people about who.
Right, he was the best. He was like, look, I'm good. I can do this. Trust me, it's good stuff. I can tell you. It's great. Trust me.
But you know that this did not even transpire until he was 43.
Yeah.
I'm 34, y'all.
She older than me.
I be wanting to quit.
She wanting to quit. Don't quit.
43.
I'm not looking at 43. I don't mind if I make Dolemite at 43. If that's the time it takes me to make a movie to impact, I'll do it. I don't care. Because for me, The journey has been the fun part. It's frustrating as all hell, but the journey is what makes you appreciate it once you get there. And I feel like for him, once he got there,
it's the once you get there though. Because if the journey, because the journey got highs and peaks and valleys, it got highs and lows. If you don't make it through,
yeah, it could suck. It could suck a lot. But I mean, I think overall, when you watch it, you see him go through those emotional responses. You see him, but then you see him once he got that Dolemite character, he milked that thing because he was like, you know what, this is my thing. Mm-hmm. And when he went on tour and he met Big Mama, what was her name?
Queen Bee.
Queen Bee was the name of the character she played in Dolemite. But her name was something else. But,
I forgot her name.
And she became Queen Bee on stage as well or whatever. But, you know, he said that when he first met her, he said there was something about you. There was a light that shined on you. Because when you first meet the character, her boyfriend is cheating on her.
And she beats the mess out of him.
She punched him something crazy. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it was crazy. So he saw it from the back, and after his show, she was there and he bought her a drink and he talked to her and convinced her to also bet on herself. And he started letting her open up for him when he was on tour. And she built a following and, you know, he brought her out of a situation and elevated her. And at no point did he ever throw that in her face. He never was like, I made you. You know, he made her.
He really empowered her.
Right. He empowered everybody he was around.
He really did.
If you watch that movie, he never degraded anybody who worked with him. Even the white director or director of photography. You know, he was a young college guy. And, you know, he was like, hey, man, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trusting you. But I'll do whatever you need me to do. Like, you tell me, I got it. Hey, let's do it. And, you know, you saw his humbleness. And
people will work with you just off of how you work with them. Mm-hmm. You know, you make me feel good. You're kind to me. You believe in something, so I'm going to help you out.
Right. And there was points where they ran out of money.
They ran out of film.
And he had to go get that. Mm-hmm. And, you know, people still stuck by him in those moments. And, you know, you just kind of see how people believed in him.
And then in that, now we can get off. Mm-hmm. He created the movie.
Yes.
And it looked as though he wasn't even going to be able to put it out.
Right. They filmed it. Everything was shot. But no one would pick it up.
And he got to a discouraged place again. Mm-hmm. Like, this road to success...
It's crazy.
It's an up and down one. And he's like, man, I done made this movie. I ain't even about to put it out. He's at Chris Rock's radio show like, look, I don't know, y'all, when it's going to come out. Right. And he's like, and Chris Rock had to...
He's like, look, Nick, what you talking about? I gave you this opportunity, Nick. What you mean it ain't coming out?
But that's why it's so important for you to have a support system.
It is.
Around you to uplift you. Because although he clearly, naturally was a ambitious, self-motivated individual, but you do reach a place of being like, I'm tired, I'm frustrated, being drained and broken. And so that's why it's so good to have a strong crew around you to be like, all right. Like, I don't know if you've seen that basketball meme where dude just lifted his head up.
Yeah, he's like, man, come on.
Because he
right, he's walking because he missed a shot or whatever.
And just kept moving, like...
Well, cut that out.
Yeah.
But you know what? And I think that's what it was, too, for him. Like, everybody who worked with him kept him encouraged.
Yeah.
And Mike Epps' character came out and said, dude, I've seen you be told no 1,000,000 times.
Yep.
That ain't never stopped you. Nigga, what is you doing? Like, nigga, you better figure this out. We're here, but go figure it out.
It's so crazy when you see somebody who just has no modesty. And they just keep going and going and going. Like and I be watching like, they getting tired of you. You ain't gonna he's still going. That just seemed like that was him.
But like, you know what? The one thing also, and I think that this also spills over from something else we spoke on the other one. It's that empowerment feel right now. The movies right now aren't showing black people tearing each other down. The few movies that came out recently are all about elevating one another. Wakanda forever. But you know, we see a resurgence of Black unity, and I'm loving it because we have stories to tell. I think what's the movie that's coming out with my man's from Atlanta, the show Atlanta, Lakeith, whatever, and homegirl from
Issa Rae?
Yeah. They got that romantic comedy coming out.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? That's something we need. We don't have enough, you know, Black romantic comedies. I mean, we got Brown Sugar, Love Jones.
All that stuff is back.
Right.
There's nothing right now.
Right. I mean, Brown Sugar was my flick though. When did you fall in love with hip hop?
Well, yeah, but
right, but we don't have it for current.
No, there's nothing current.
But here's the thing: why is it that every other week you have a Sandra Bullock movie or whoever names? No, this Sandra, no Sandra. Blindside, you know what I mean? But no. So you look at these movies, especially like I said with Dolemite, you see that unity in that era. Obviously, it's a period piece. It's the 70s, so you see that. You know, Black Soul Brother type thing, even with the karate and just with the whole production of it, you see it, and that felt good too. So, you know, having that circle of friends who you can also bet on to be with you, to encourage you, is dope. So yeah, in that moment when he was like, I seen you fail and be told no. You get back up and you keep it pushing. You got this, you know. So that's
that was cool.
That was, and that was a powerful moment. If you really take a step back and go, you need more people like that in your corner.
Mm-hmm.
You
know. So Chris Rock ended up being a resource in getting him to a place where he found a theater who was willing to give him a shot. I mean, he had to pay $500 to get that shot, but he's like, look, you bring these people in here,
you get the whole box office.
You get the box office. You can't have my popcorn.
Because I want snack money.
That was so funny, though, when...
It's like, concessions.
Eddie Murphy looked out, and he starts seeing lines just...
Right.
And then he was like, what did he say? You gonna sell all your tickets. He's like, you gonna sell all your popcorn, nigga. Oh, that was so funny. Like, you gonna sell all your popcorn.
Yes.
So he ended up really conquering the Chitlin circuit.
Yeah, he did.
Which was so cool. So the first movie, the movie goes well. He conquers the Chitlin circuit.
And prior to this, he, like we said, he shopped around the movie to all these studios, and no one wanted to buy it.
They didn't want it.
And then after the success, and he lands on Movie Tracker, and they see how much he grossed from that one theater, Dimension calls him. And they're like, hey, so...
Hollywood's a fickle mistress.
So do you want to come in? Like,
we want you now that we see you making some money.
Some money there. We think that we can help that.
They had a good little bribe though, like
yeah, they did.
When it was like, well, you can do this on your own,
right?
But you gonna be pushing this
for the next 5 years. He's like, oh. He's like, yeah,
we got to go with y'all.
We gonna work with Judy.
Yeah, like we gonna have to. Which he really would. Like it's only so you do need help.
You do. You need to know when not to sell your soul, but you need to know when you need to cash in on certain things to get what you want out of it.
Yeah.
And
because doing it by yourself will take you to a certain plateau. But then at some point in time, like you saw, like we saw him, Rudy Ray Moore, he did it enough to be branded and to be liked, and then he brought in his crew and he built it enough. Now he can make a movie. Now he brought in another crew. Now the movie's complete. Now you got to keep, in order to elevate, you got to keep partnering up with others and networking with others.
And you see it, like once he sells it, the critics. This is the funny thing, though. Critics always hate movies because critics are supposed to criticize because they're looking at it at a different level.
From a critical standpoint.
They're not looking at it for what people actually enjoy, which is insane to even base your thought process on why you would see something based on somebody who's supposed to be a hater. Like, dumbass.
But you're gonna want to know.
You do. You want to kind of get a brief understanding. But when you get people that are just universally hate movies. It's like
on purpose.
But
this movie was butt.
Oh, the movie was trash.
So we're not gonna. We went and saw. We didn't go and see because we saw this separately. I happened to watch it and post it on Facebook. He's like, all right, let's do a review because I saw it too. So I'm like, all right, cool. But I went back and saw the old one.
If you got Amazon Prime, it's on Amazon.
It's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube too, but I got Amazon, so I went on Amazon. I was like, oh, Dolemite again? I'll rewatch it for the umpteenth time just to get a refresher here.
Oh, the old one is one of those movies that's so bad it's good.
It is.
Like, all the fight scenes were so corny.
He's like, Dolemite, wait right there.
Tell him I want to see him in 23 hours.
And 24 of them is already gone.
No, he said I want to see him in 24 hours and 23 of them is already gone. That movie was
good. No, what did he say? Good backbiting. What is
what did he say when he was in the bed? And he stood up, he was like, oh, H-no, or something he said. Like he was sitting. It was at the very end of the movie.
I can't remember.
Oh, God. Oh, it was so funny.
Hilarious,
but it was so corny.
Yes. Yes. Like, so many moments just from the actual movie.
So after seeing the actual movie and then watching Dolemite, it makes it even funnier because now you see what they were doing. Why the movie looked the way it looked. The fake car scene is funny. How he's like, I'm a dance white boy there. You know what I mean? I want to see him. You know, he made him dance by shooting his feet and, all of that stuff.
My game.
Dolemite is my name. And
motherfuckers is my game.
God. I will tell y'all that the language is so bad that you may not even make it through the whole movie. If you're sensitive to that, do not watch this movie.
Because you're going to hear some things that you might not have ever heard before.
Why would you even let that come out your mouth? But that's how he was, unfortunately. But this movie is so funny, y'all. The costuming was bomb.
Wait, if people don't know, because a lot of y'all don't, if you like ODB, Old Dirty Bastard, for those of you who aren't in the know, from Wu-Tang Clan, if you remember the album, Nigga Please, for the video for Got My Money, hey, dirty,
don't you worry.
That scene when he's at the taco truck or the diner thing, that's from Dolemite. They put his face over the crackhead, who was an actual crackhead in this movie. He was a real crackhead. Like, if you watch the doc, he was really on that stuff. But he transposed his head over it for the video, and that's him walking away. That's from Dolemite.
I gotta watch that.
You gotta watch the video. That's the video.
Sing it, girls!
Right. Hey, baby, I got your money. Don't you worry. Say hey.
All right, so listen.
You gotta watch Dolemite. It's not.
So he goes with the theater company, gets bad reviews, but the Chitlin Circuit.
No, you're missing it. The one review that he liked the most was when they said this was the most deprived movie. It's not fit for a blind dog to watch.
Oh, dang.
And he was like, that is the one that's going to get asses in the seats. Because people want to come and see what is so outrageous about this movie.
Yeah.
He was like, I love the negative one. Because
that's what he said. He said, are you for real?
Yeah.
Do you remember at the end, Eddie Murphy did it? He sit up in the bed. Are you for real, B?
Right.
Oh, it had me cracking up. It was so fake and corny.
Yes.
Oh, God.
It's such a good movie.
So then he goes, they go to the premiere.
Mm-hmm. And he's walking the lines. Like, he's done it before, too. He's walked the lines for different showings of the movie. And there's a kid who really wanted to go see the movie. But he wasn't sure if he'd be able to stay up late because it wouldn't be till 2 a.m. that everybody who was in line and had tickets would have actually been able to see the movie.
I'm glad, because that movie needs to be played at 2 a.m.
Look, but what he did was he didn't go in and watch the premiere. He stayed online and entertained the people because they would be there that long. And he actually wound up giving his cane to the kid at the end of the movie, and it was things like that you look at it like, man, we don't have that anymore. Like, even watching the movie, it gave me nostalgic feels again, because if you remember Muhammad Ali, when you would see Muhammad Ali interact with people, he would do the whole put your fists up, and he would play with the kids like, I already hit you twice. And his energy was that. Rudy Ray Moore had that same energy because it wasn't about the money for him. It was about what he was doing it for the people. And I feel like when you make stuff for the people, you get a greater reward because you're not seeking the benefits of money. You're doing something because people can connect and relate.
That's what you should be doing it for anyway. And I think sometimes as an entertainer, you lose the sight of that. Right. You can get caught up in the business or caught up in competition or fair treatment or everything. So I get that. Some things about the actual Rudy Ray Moore, I had mentioned that he was actually 43 when he did all of this. Like, ain't that crazy? A whole life. He's lived a whole life.
And he was about to wrap it up and be done, and he was like, nah, I gotta keep doing this. I got this thing else. And I gotta do it. Chris mentioned, sorry, ButtaScotch, Chef ButtaScotch. What is wrong with you? He really wasn't about none of this Dolemite life. No. Like, he actually was a gay man. Was he gay?
Well, I watched, there was an interview of his former manager. And his former manager did an interview and said that Rudy Ray was a gay man. But he lived that life in the closet. Right. He didn't come out. He said that he dealt with a lot of pain from not being able to come out. They kept him separate. So although he had this image of just having a bunch of women, they were naked all the time.
But you know what? Image. The funny thing is, there's undertones to it in a way. Yeah. Because when Eddie's talking to Queen Bee
about not feeling comfortable about doing the sex scene,
right? And not even that. Even at the end, when she thanked him for everything, because you kind of felt like they should have dated, and you're like, well, why didn't he just deal with her? Because she was solid. She was a thorough person. And you kind of, I did get that feel like he might have been gay, because there also was that other gay character. And I was like, maybe there's a correlation, because why is there this, from the incredible Kimmy Schmidt or whatever, the black dude,
I don't remember who was gay.
The gay dude. What? You don't remember who was gay?
No, who was gay?
The dark dude that was like, yes, Rudy, because remember they were sitting there, we had a fucking wig on.
I can't remember.
What? When they're in not the diner, it's when they went out to dinner. And they're sitting in a booth. He's sitting over there. He has a whole wig on. And in the other scene, he just got his hair off.
I just can't remember him.
But he talked. He was the other dude from the record store.
Okay.
Remember when he was like, Rudy, you should go deal with him because you the manager.
I remember somebody just saying something, but I don't remember thinking nothing about nothing. I didn't.
Well, he's gay.
I mean, I remember seeing somebody gay, but not putting nothing together with him. Like, oh, then that must be Rudy's. And I ain't think nothing about him.
I was not saying that I think he was gay like that. It had those undertones. Told you, I pay attention to undertones. I dissect movies deeper than you do.
Okay, I'll let you have that.
Well, dang it. So, yeah, I mean, I can see where some of the things played into it now that you said that, if that's true. But I mean, hey, I hate interviews where they out people, though. If he didn't say it when he was alive, don't say it now.
I like interviews when they out people. Because I'm nosy.
Horrible. That is terrible.
Hey, you was living like this, but
that was like that man's business.
That is crazy.
That's like when you found out Santa Claus ain't real.
Santa ain't real?
No. Oh. Shaking the table.
So, also, contributions, he actually became like the godfather of rap. That's what they call him. His
cadence.
Yeah, and it makes sense. Yeah. He went up and just stood there and talked trash and then made it rhyme.
Right. He did. That's really what he was doing. That's
pretty much what rap is.
Yeah. Making some random stuff up.
You say what you want, you make it raw, you make it rhyme.
Right.
And now you're a rapper.
Right.
So he was like the grandfather of a rap, underground legend.
Right. But everybody from Snoop to Dre to...
They say that if there was no him, there would be no me. Like this whole pimp image, being cool.
He personified something that wasn't a thing at the time for real.
Yep. And so, and like I had mentioned before, he did this with no cell phone, no internet.
Yeah, it's all payphones.
Yeah.
All payphones, all books, encyclopedias, talent agencies.
Writing stuff out. And
going
and
get in your car and drive for 4 hours to go meet somebody.
That you've never met. Asking around and talking to people and talking yourself up to a bunch of strangers that don't know nothing about you.
That's why at this point, having the internet, there are no excuses if you are dedicated enough to want something. It's a DM away from, hey, I have this idea. Would you like to work with me? And you got to be fearless. Don't be afraid to reach out to somebody. You never know who is going to be an asset to you.
Well, that goes into takeaways, which we've been stating those all this whole movie. Like you said, be fearless, be resilient, persistent, have endurance, betting on yourself, believing in yourself, and people will buy into it if you believe in yourself.
But
and
be yourself. Be unapologetic.
Well, he wasn't being himself at all.
Well, when I say be yourself, I say be yourself, be unapologetic. It's saying don't be afraid to
own your stuff.
Yeah, and take on the world as you and create whatever it is you're gonna do. So if you create a character, just do it. Don't be afraid, and don't let anyone tell you not to turn yourself up to 11. You know what I mean? And let that light shine. Just be as outlandish as you may need to be as a person. Just saying. Just a little bit. Just slightly.
Another takeaway is when someone sees you already doing something, they're more willing to help you.
Yeah.
Like with that division.
You talking about the record label or the film label?
Film company.
Well, the film company they passed on them the first time. The film was done.
No, when they wanted to help to promote the movie after they came back to him and they said Hollywood's a fickle mistress.
Right.
What's the name of the company?
Dimension.
So like Dimension was like, heck no, at first.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was when he first made the call after the movie was initially done.
When you show people that you are willing to try to do this on your own, whether they're involved or not, they're more likely to help you. Like, for instance, if you see somebody on the side of the road and they're sitting in their car, how likely are you to help them? No, but if you see them
struggling,
pushing the car on the side of the road, you feel a little more amped to kind of go and help them.
Until you get stabbed.
We're not talking about that.
Just saying.
But, you're more likely when people already see you working with what you have and making things happen with the resources that you have.
Of course.
People are more likely to come in and get involved just because they see you trying.
Of course. And I think that was a thing. He had perseverance. Even though he got low and he stopped for a minute and he went back to touring, he never lost sight of what he was really trying to do. And
not for long, anyway.
Right. Because he still knew that there was a purpose for what was going on. And he took it and he just kept pushing it. But again, it's like we said, he was surrounded by people that also believed in him.
So they would carry him when he couldn't carry himself.
Right.
So, all right. Candy bar ratings.
Uh-oh.
Because I am caramel and this is Chef ButtaScotch.
Butter. It's butter, baby.
All right. Do you know what rating you want to give this?
I don't know.
Don't say it.
I don't want to do the same thing. I got it. I got it.
Okay. 1, 2, 3,
4
4.
and a half. I added the half.
You added the half.
I had to add the half.
Okay, so I gave it a 4 instead of a 5 because just the language, which the language holds true to what the movie's about. The language holds true to what the movie's about. So it's not like just aimless, you know. But I know that it's going to deter. And it's not my cup of tea to hear language all like that. But I can endure it for the great good of the movie. So for me, that and so like for me, everything that I got from this movie, I wish it was something that everybody could watch, but it's just not.
It's not.
So that's what brought it at a 4. But what brought it to a 4 though was it was hilarious. It had a wonderful, like I said, it had a wonderful cast. The acting was great, and the costumes were great. The songs were hilarious. I got so much from it, and like I mentioned in our last review, there's certain things that will help you to get back centered.
Right.
This was one of those things for me. Like, okay, get back on it. Your natural, who you are naturally is ambitious. Who you are naturally is persistent. Is a goal setter and a goal achiever, a motivated person. That's who you are naturally. So these valleys don't stay there.
Right.
Don't stay there. So
for me, it got a 4.5 because it was everything you wanted from something like this. It gave you everything. You were going to be thoroughly entertained beginning to end. And it got the half for me. I don't know why.
I feel like I kind of want to give it the half.
Give it the half.
All right, I give it the half.
Give it the half.
Because I really did love it.
Right.
I watched it twice. I even liked it more the second time. So that's what made me give it the half. Is because I liked it even more. It was funnier the second time.
Right. So that's what I say. It got the half for me because all of that, but plus it's return to form. Eddie Murphy coming back off of that hiatus and having taken that time to then take this project is what we hoped Eddie Murphy would have done the whole trajectory, because
you love to see somebody come back and do it the right way.
Right, because some of those movies prior weren't great, you know. Bowfinger wasn't awesome, and
something Mr. Church or something. Did you see
I heard that was good. I have not seen that yet. I want to watch that, but I'm talking about those movies prior to that break, because Mr. Church and then there was a break, but there was Pluto Nash, The Haunted Mansion from Disney. There was like a few of these movies. It was like, Eddie, no, Eddie, what are you doing, Eddie? And it was like, yeah, you go sit down. You've been here for a while. You're picking some bullshit. And to come back and not try to fit into that family-friendly mold that he tried to fall into with those movies and just be Eddie. Because Eddie's not overly raunchy. But when you watch The Golden Child or Coming to America, which they're filming Coming to America 2 right now.
Oh, man, those.
Everybody's back. Everybody's back. And Wesley's in this
I can't wait to watch it, but I don't know how I feel about them doing
I'm
this.
excited.
Like, so I'll be like, when it's a classic, I just want it to stay a classic and leave it alone.
Listen.
Because if you mess it up.
But here's the thing. The original Coming to America is still going to be Coming to America. If the second one is terrible, we just strike that out of here. But everybody's coming back.
Don't let it be terrible,
But here's the problem. Everybody's coming back. So if they are going to keep it with that formula and not try to do nothing extra, it'll be just as hilarious.
Oh my God, I don't know. That one was so perfect.
Zamunda is my thing.
Oh, man. I can't wait to see it though. I just be wanting stuff. That's the same way I feel about him coming back to stand up. I'm like, you were so perfect.
But you know what though?
Please don't mess this up.
But this is what I'm saying.
But I'm gonna watch it. But don't mess it up.
But if he comes back and it's like another Raw or Delirious, now you got a third one in the chamber. But
because he don't even think in a mindset. Like, he was 27.
He was.
He came back apologizing.
He did for a second.
Yeah,
and then
so like it's not gonna be those. But if he's able to reinvent himself, like he channeled that Jay-Z where he's constantly, I'm a grown man, but I'm still at the top of my game. Right.
That's what I want to see. You give me Eddie like that, and we're great. So, I mean, I'm just saying.
It's going to be, but I'm going to shut up.
It's gonna be, but you never know. But if he can do that, just like Chappelle was gone. I loved all the Netflix specials.
Oh, I loved them all.
Sticks and Stones made a lot of people mad because of the gay jokes. It's a joke. You listen. I'm black and I can't not be black. If a white comedian makes a black joke, guess what? Okay.
That's what they get.
It's a joke. You're a human. Like, don't do something and then
they talk about death, life, like
If they talk about God, the devil, and Christ, who are you? You are nothing. Okay? Right. So shut up with, I don't think that. So if Eddie comes back and he's afraid to make those jokes, I understand because cancel culture.
I just like stuff. I have it on a pedestal. So I guess what I'm saying is I need it to stay on that pedestal, and it's going to take a whole lot for it to be on that pedestal. But I'm going to watch either way, and we're going to be right here doing a review. I don't know if we'll be here, but we will be talking we'll be somewhere. Somewhere would happen. But, I mean, I just feel like it got that half for me because I love seeing Eddie. And you know what it reminded me of? I'm not going to lie. Even when I watched the interviews that they talked about the movie because of the energy that they had, it reminded me of Harlem Nights. Yeah.
It reminded me of Harlem Nights because you had all of these comedians, these musicians, these just people who you've seen in all other places in one place. And I would love to see Eddie do something with the scope of Harlem Nights again, where he had every comedian that was somebody at that time was in that
stuff
movie.
Like that. Oh, you gotta be cautious though, because sometimes they are all competing to be funny.
But you know what though?
And so when the balance is right, it is gold.
But that's what Harlem Nights was to me. You had Pryor, Fox, Della Reese. You had Robin Harris. You had freaking.
I have an honesty moment though. I've never watched it from beginning to end. I want to.
Do you have it on you? The black card. I need it.
You're not taking my black card.
I need the black card. This is insane.
I've watched several parts.
Man. Come on.
I have never
the
sat
scene
down.
Where he's shooting the gun. Quick! You killed my brother, quick!
I've never.
And he's shooting the gun. And he's like, pop! Stop shooting that little. Stop it!
I saw that. I saw that part.
Man.
I saw that part, but I've never sat down and from the very top to the very bottom watched it.
Such a great. I have it on DVD over there.
Well, we'll have to eventually watch it.
Oh my gosh. One of my all-time favorite movies, man. Like Harlem Nights. You shoot me in my pinky toe. She tried to cut me. She wasn't going to cut you. She was just trying to scare you. You pull a razor blade on me. I think you're trying to cut me. So you had to shoot that lady in the foot.
Oh my goodness.
Come on. Or you throw it up in the air and it come down like sunshine.
I told you, I've seen several parts of it. I've never sat and watched
Come
it.
on.
I'm
Look,
sorry.
Even talk all of this great black nostalgia when they had the scene where he was like, in Sugar, when everybody got arrested and you walked in there, you had all them limos outside and them white cops had to let all them niggas go. Ooh, that must have been some smooth stuff right there. Them white people must have been mad. It's like, I wish I would have seen it.
See, I'm about to watch it.
It's such,
I've never not wanted to.
You have got to, yo. Like,
I'm sorry. I had to catch up on all my movies. I told you my mom wasn't letting me just watch it.
Listen, I get it. That is what you watch it and you will have a different look. You say Eddie's on this pedestal. You watch Harlem Nights, and that pedestal is going to multiply.
Well, the pedestal's already, you know what I mean? Right. He ain't on no lower pedestal from that.
Because you haven't seen it, though, that is one of those movies when you do finally go, damn, he did all of that. From Beverly Hills Cop.
He's so dope.
Like, you put this movie in there.
And he seems like he's so humble.
He is.
He don't seem like he has an arrogant...
Not an ego anymore. He used to.
I could see that.
Don't get that twisted.
But you know what?
Them stories about Eddie were real.
I don't know all that, but I do... Now he's like, look, I just like to do nothing.
Right, I'm chilling.
I don't care. I'm going to come out with a movie every once in a while, maybe do a stand-up when I feel like it. But I'm chilling with my kids.
I want to see another Beverly Hills Cop. He's older.
Quit trying to bring back these movies. Let them be what they are.
Beverly Hills Cop 3 was one of my favorites.
Stop trying to bring them back.
Uncle Dave, Wonderworld.
Stop trying to bring back the past.
I don't want... Stop
trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen.
No, I think that's it.
I think that's it, y'all. We loved it. Okay, so watch it if you can handle it. All right.
Little sensitive ears. The language ain't that bad.
I told you what I was not allowed to grow up on.
Well,
watch
you're grown
it. So
now.
I'm grown. So now I'm sensitive to it. Now I'll be like,
well,
oh,
look,
bad
Mom.
word.
Mom. She's watching it now. She's watching it now. Okay, she's allowed to stay up past 8 o'clock. She's watching BET Uncensored. It's okay.
His name is because she will come for you. All right. All right. So my name is Caramel. This is ButtaScotch. And we out of here. We just did 2 reviews. We're out.